Everything that you've ever known about pizza is wrong. We all know what pizza is, the delicious flatbread with cheese and toppings that comes in a variety of forms and flavors. We all remember the coveted pizza party in elementary school where we'd get a slice so damn thin that you'd think that we're rationing out food in a post-apocalyptic Chuck E. Cheese. That was also the moment that we learned that God is indeed real. He just thinks it's funny when we're sad. It was one of the greatest culinary inventions in modern history that basically put Italy on the map. Because let's be honest with ourselves here, there's no way that you thought a country shaped like a boot worn by white Anglo-Saxon horse girls in autumn was real. But what if I told you that the true history of pizza had been hidden from you all of these years? Join me as we delve into the real history and the mystery of pizza. Many people would initially assume that pizza found its origins in ancient Italy, but you'd be surprised to hear that it goes much further back than that to the ancient Babylonians. This revelation came with the discovery of an ancient Babylonian recipe book in the form of a clay tablet because, and this may come as a surprise to many of you, they did not have staples. That kind of blew my mind when I found that out. What the fuck? Amongst your regular recipes of meat and vegetarian dishes, it also speaks of a particular recipe with a flatbread with vegetable toppings on it. Sound familiar?
Ancient pizza.
What makes this finding even more interesting is that the Babylonians were famously known for their developments in math and science. In other words, they were a bunch of ancient crusty nerds. Due to a lack of them having no friends and being a bunch of fucking dorks, they calculated the area of a circle by taking 3 times the square of its radius, which gave a value of pi, or close to it. Yeah, that's right. Pi. We're talking
3.141592653537932279502847937510582097494495.
But why do you think they call it pi? That stands for pizza pie. The ancient inventors of pizza also invented circles. Unfortunately, after the Persian king Cyrus the Great conquered Babylon, the development of the pizza that we know today was almost halted because for some reason the guy just didn't like flatbreads. Now let's talk about Little Caesar. One of the most influential people in the history of pizza was born in 70 BCE as none other than the son of Julius Caesar, Caesar II. Many historians think that Julius Caesar only had one son, but a seasoned pizza scholar like myself knows that that's not the truth. And those other historians can actually go huff paint. Caesar had this child with a woman named Octavia, but he wasn't married to her, which is bad. Drama. Deceit. Adultery. This child was a bastard. And what makes matters worse is that when Octavia was pregnant with Caesar II, she got attacked by a bear, so he came out real small. And we're talking like really short. This guy was 4'11" at best. When you're really short and nobody talks to you because your dad doesn't love you, you do things to mask the pain. This was Little Caesar's situation. The dude was miserable, but that caused him to discover something that had been lost for many years. Little tiny Caesar was the first person to put toppings on focaccia bread, making it a trend with the local village. And let me tell you, they loved him. He was having a lot of sex, and the power of this early pizza was spreading through the Roman Republic like a wildfire, as well as the ideas of freedom and individuality that pizza often promotes. Unfortunately, this was around the same time that his father Julius Caesar had declared himself dictator for life of the Roman Republic, who just so happened to not be a fan of those themes. One day, as Little Caesar was enjoying his focaccia bread with toppings on it, he was ambushed by a group of anti-pizza Caesar thugs who just beat the crap out of him. They beat him so bad that historians think that he may have gotten brain damage because the only recorded thing that he said after this event was pizza, pizza. From that moment on, Little Caesar was exiled from society by his own father, which is super rude and not cool. And only devout followers of Little Caesar would take on the way of the pizza through secret underground apprenticeships. Once again, it seemed like the way of the pizza could go extinct, which is tragic. That is, of course, until the PIZZIAN explosion. Little Caesar, with his limited vocabulary, passed down his pizza recipe for hundreds of years, with each apprentice adding their own little jazz to the mix, their own little spice, if you will. People added tomatoes, they added cheese. It was becoming more complicated, more scientific. Italy was suddenly a booming paradise of pizza technology, pizza diversity. It was a beautiful time to be alive, and people often like to call it the Renaissance. Personally, I wouldn't have called this period of time the Renaissance. I think that's a stupid name. I would have called it pizza time. Italy's got a pizza and it's in your oven. Italy's cooking up something real good. Pizzaville, and the Pope is there too. And after this period of time, pizza spread throughout the world. People were eating it in Moscow, doing the little Moscow dance that the Russians do. Look at them go. People were eating it in China with those cats from the PBS show that I saw when I was a kid. And if they weren't eating pizza, they wouldn't have built the Great Wall of China because they wouldn't have had the strength. And of course, pizza found its way to sail on the open seas, which is where we run into Pizzabeard. With the discovery of the New World also came the discovery of great economic prosperity on the high seas. And of course with this came pirates. There are legends of a great pirate by the name of Giovanni Lufacci, who was the captain of a ship called the Doughboy's Embrace. However, like the fate of many pirates when they set out onto the open seas, him and his crew fell ill to scurvy. If you don't know what scurvy is, it's when you don't have enough vitamin C and then your teeth fall out. Just when it seemed like everything was lost though, Giovanni had the intuition to put limes as a topping on the ship's supply of pizza, saving the crew and giving him the title Pizzabeard. Pizzabeard and his pizza crew went on to fight many battles of legend, ending only with Pizzabeard being hanged for punching a kid. He was actually hung by his own crew because in terms of piracy, that's where they draw the line. Punching kids. Hundreds of years later, many pizza artisans, much like Pizzabeard, went on to seek their fortune in the land of opportunity. This, of course, leads us to... Oh, where am I? I'm lost in the big city. Just kidding, I know exactly where I am. I'm in the home of New York-style pizza. Characterized by large, hand-tossed thin crust and sold in big slices for the city that never sleeps, this is a good slice. What historians don't tell you, though, is this pizza style's connection with the famous 5 families of the Italian-American organized crime scene. You've got the Maranzanos, the Profacci, the Manganos, the Lucianos, and the fucking Gaglianos. But what they don't talk about is the Mozzarellos, the 6th family in the Italian-American organized crime scene. Don't believe me? Don't look it up. The Mozzarella family was founded by Antonio Prosciutto Vaffanculo Mozzarella, but his friends like to call him Tony. His enemies, however, they call him the Grease, and I don't know why. So similar to how many organized crime syndicates engage in loan sharking, the Mozzarellos followed a similar model, except that in their case, they called it pasta sharking. They pretty much controlled the pizza economy in New York by having a stranglehold on the pizza sauce imports into the city, and then selling it back to the pizza shops at exorbitant rates. Talk about cool but rude. Obviously this was not good for the city of New York or New York style pizza. I mean, the Mozzarellas were fucking everything up, making pizza more expensive. Pizza should be cheap and cheesy, all right? And don't take it from me, take it from Socrates, because he's the one who said that. So one day, Joe Lombardi, son of Ginevra Lombardi, who founded the very first pizza shop in the United States, founded the Staten Island Dough Tosser Book Club. This was a team made up of the best pizza makers in New York City. You've got Joe Lombardi, Vito Pastigliano, Giorno Salami, Carmine Gabagool, and Tony Doorbell. These guys were some of the toughest pizza makers in New York City, and they were sick of mozzarellos, schizzarello, let me tell you. Why was it called a book club, you may ask? Nobody ever checks what's going on in a book club, because nobody cares. What happens next is Joe Lombardi and his crew of dough tossers burst into the Mozzarella headquarters and they kill Antonio Prosciutto Vaffanculo Mozzarella. But not before giving him one final slice of New York City. But this time, the sauce was the blood of his beloved cat, Baloney. After that, the Mozzarella family was dissolved and pizza in New York City thrived like never before. Also, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are real because pizza is real. Whatever. Let's talk about Chicago, land of miserable winters, and the Cubs, a baseball team that took more than a century to win the World Series a third time. But there's more to Chicago than misery and pain, because this place is the birthplace of deep dish pizza. Just kidding. This too was brought by the misery and pain that is the city of Chicago. During the winter of 1940, one of the most terrible blizzards hit the city of Chicago in what was called the Armistice Day Blizzard, but what I will be recalling and renaming the Deep Dish Day Blizzard. Put it in the history books. Please, history book companies, answer my calls, because I got a lot of information you guys are fucking up. This blizzard was so intense that it knocked out power for the entire city of Chicago, and major supply lines in were cut off by snowdrift. The bitter cold got so bad that people were forced to descend into the Chicago Grand Catacombs, which are very similar to the Paris catacombs, almost identical. And the reason for that is because of a dimensional shift that happened in 1912. This one's gonna be kind of hard to explain, so please, for the love of God, just bear with me. Basically, in 1912, our reality of Chicago received the catacombs from another reality in which Paris was Chicago and Chicago was Paris. Are you with me here? Imagine the Eiffel Tower, but then Lake Michigan is behind it. That's the other reality. And then imagine France, but they have the Cubs. From what we know, that's the only thing that's different. This is called Dimension 1C. Two prominent leaders of the survival effort within these catacombs was Rudy Malnati and Ike Sewell. And these guys had the idea to search for any food and water that they could find within the catacombs. What they ended up finding was an ancient pizza shop that, upon closer inspection by archaeologists in later years, turns out to be the burial site of an apprentice of Little Caesar from Dimension 1C. But in that dimension, his name was Big Caesar. And what they managed to find was strangely well-preserved cheese, tomatoes, and flour that just so happened to be perfect for making a slice. It's unsure of who had a more significant hand in the process, but Rudy and Ike worked together to develop a pizza that had a deeper crust that made it easier for the survivors in the catacombs to go longer without starving. After this event, Rudy and Ike went on to start their very own pizza chains, Domino's Pizza and Pizza Hut. But who truly invented the deep dish pizza still remains a mystery. Don't believe me? Just listen what local Chicago pizza expert Edward Burbank has to say about this.
Hey, Ted, I read this paper you prepared for me, and I have to say, other than the fact that there's a bit of a dispute whether Rudy Malnati or Ike Sewell invented deep dish, I really don't know what the rest of this is. I've never even heard of it, and I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. I mean, I don't really know where any of this information even came from. What is this I'm reading about the Chicago catacombs?
All right, Eddie, that's enough out of you. Always joking around. He's a joker. No, he's funny. He's a funny fucking guy. He barely ever tells the truth. Unlike me, of course, I always tell the truth. Overall, this was probably one of the stranger situations that had ever happened in the history of pizza. That is, of course, until the year was 1975, and Navy scientists were doing research on these ancient tablets that were found within the lava of the volcanoes of Hawaii. What these tablets depicted was the process of putting ham and pineapple on what could only be determined to be pizza. That looks like a
Pizza to me.
radioactive dating determined that these tablets were more than 10,000 years old. Given their supernatural nature, the scientists were advised by higher-ups to avoid completing the recipe that is depicted on the tablets. But a rebellious researcher by the name of Samuel Charmander, that's his real name, decided one fateful night that he didn't give a shit and he was going to complete the recipe himself. Alright, so here's basically what happened. Pizza. Looks yummy. I want that in my belly. He adds ham and pineapple to the pizza. Probably a poor choice. He bakes it in the oven. And as you can tell by that glow, it's looking a little suspicious. Finally, he takes a bite of the pizza. Hell portal. We don't like Samuel Charmander because he kind of fucked things for a little bit. Volcanoes getting ready to erupt. The fucking kaijus are coming out of the ocean from Pacific Rim, the movie. And this wasn't just any normal hell portal, okay? This was a Class 7 Omega hell portal, okay? Which means you've got green goblins, greener than you've ever seen, swift, fast rats. They're quick on their feet. Oompa Loompas, but they're blue, and they're carrying a boombox that's blasting 21 Pilots, which is just a pain in the ass. An ugly guy named Gorgonzola. And he's really rude. Oiled and slippery old men. And I know you wouldn't believe it, but that's a demon. Flashcards, lots of them. And you don't know any of the answers. Fat cactus. Look at the size of that thing. Just the sentence teeming with life on a Minecraft sign. I don't even get this one. Mutilated monkey meat. Just a pile of mutilated monkey. You've got real dense birds that fly into windows. Washing machine, but everything comes out smelling like mildew. You've got Superman, except he just doesn't feel like it, you know? Cum gun. We all know that's an issue. As you can tell, this was a pretty serious situation and it almost sunk the entire island of Hawaii. However, thanks to the technology that was available in 1975, these Navy scientists were able to unbake the pizza using a device called a Nevo, which does quite literally the opposite of the oven. It unbakes the pizza. This indeed is the closest that we've ever gotten to facing the otherworldly and supernatural reality of pizza. That is, of course, if we weren't talking about... This one's pretty dang simple. You deserve to know the truth. We do not know where pepperoni comes from. We don't know. I tried to figure it out. It's from another dimension, a dimension where everything is made of pepperoni. But let me tell you, we can't get there. We can't get there anymore, though.
I don't know. There's something about...
There was a portal, and it was there. The pepperoni dimension was there. I would have loved this.
They blew it up. Oh, God. The pepperoni separatists, they blew it up. They blew up the pepperoni portal. And we can't get there. We can't get to the pepperoni land. They took it away from me. They took the dimension.
So there you have it, folks. There you have it. And we can't get back there, all right? Because the pepperoni separatists, they destroyed it. Something about Molotov cocktails and C4. I mean, come on. Overkill. Pepperoni will be the next resource war, before the water wars, before the oil wars. It will be pepperoni that the last great war is fought over, because we can't get any more. And we're running out of pepperoni. And we're running out of time. Thanks so much for joining me on this episode of Factually True History. I'm your host, Ted Nivison. Thanks for watching.